Hey, what's up everyone? Dragon here with
Ashley.
We're back in together again for another edition of the Kaiju Cataclysm. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about Godzilla vs. Kong. I know everyone's a little frustrated that there's not a trailer yet, ourselves included.
Wasn't that supposed to drop recently? I remember you saying
that. Well, I mean, everyone was kind of, excuse me, predicting San Diego Comic-Con, myself included. I even did an episode because I had heard that there was going to be some kind of presentation there. Turned out there really wasn't. Then I had heard rumors that, okay, when Joker comes out, they're probably going to attach it to that. Well, because it's Warner Brothers. Oh. So a big Warner Brothers October. We didn't get a trailer, and now I'm hearing November. So a lot of people are saying, okay, well, why did King of the Monsters effectively started promoting the movie pretty much a year away, whereas this film at this rate, it's probably going to be about 5 months really out, really, by the time they start promoting this movie. But yet we keep hearing information, like I know Toho and Warner Brothers and Legendary, they've been doing licensing expos in Europe, you know, where they're talking with investors and promoters of different companies for merchandising. There was like a weird video game, like a gambling video game, I think it's like in Vegas that's going to be coming out. And everyone's wondering, like, why are we getting all this external stuff, but not the trailer? And while on the surface it's frustrating because, like all of you, you know, we want to see something. We haven't seen anything from this movie. Yeah. We haven't seen a visual. We've seen some behind-the-scenes footage, people shooting on their iPhones, you know, on set. But we haven't seen, like, we haven't even seen, like, an official, like, still from the movie. We've just seen, like, shots from the set that people taking. Yeah. But you can see the camera guy in the background. So we haven't seen even a promotional photo, save for the banner of Godzilla vs. Kong, which has it's a tight shot of them, their faces, and has a heavy filter over it. It's like you're not even really getting like a crystal clear shot of them. Okay, one of the reasons why, you look at Godzilla King of the Monsters box office, it came in just under $400 million, which was kind of a disappointment. Now, for a film to be successful, it essentially needs to at the very least double its production budget. And the reason for that is because on top of the production budget, what it costs to make the damn movie, a big part of these big studio films is the promotional budget. Mm-hmm. Studios will spend like up to $100 million or more promoting a movie.
Well,
so
usually isn't it like half the budget almost seems to go to promote, like depending on the movie.
Yeah, depending on the movie. And I think like, King of the Monsters had around was like $70 million or plus around.
Like some of those Marvel movies, it's like a third or a half or something. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But to be fair, they also know they
have the money.
They'll make that money back.
Anyway, sorry.
Which I'm like, do they even need to promote Marvel movies now? They just need this. The marquee just needs to say Marvel movie, and everyone just like we must go. But yeah, so. The more marketing you see, the longer the marketing is running for, the more money that costs. So for a movie to start promoting itself basically a year out, that's going to be on the heavier, more expensive end of a marketing budget. Now, back in the day, when Mastodon roamed the earth and we had to look both ways when going out to car because a saber tooth might leap out and pull you in. There wasn't a lot of stuff coming out, so big movies were kind of the big talk of the town. That's kind of all you really had to look forward to. You didn't have the internet, or the internet wasn't as big a thing.
Again, you had one or two trailers, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have Netflix. Video games were not what they are now, which are basically like movies. So there wasn't a lot to get excited about. So a big movie was kind of a big deal. So they would, you would be looking forward to it. So if a movie wasn't coming out for a year, well, goddammit, you would wait a year for that movie, and you'd be excited right up to the moment. Whereas now, if you say, okay, here's a trailer for a movie that's going to drop in 12 months, or well, not even that, let's just say 9 months, right? Okay, while that trailer may look cool, after you see that trailer, you're going to see a trailer for, a new Marvel movie. You're going to see a trailer for a new Netflix series. You're going to see a trailer for a new AAA, title game coming out. You're going to see a trailer for this. You're going to see a promotion for this. You're going to see a stream of this. You're going to, Critical Role is going to announce another one-shot. It's like you're going to see, there's all this stuff that's keeping you preoccupied up until that moment. So you're not necessarily waiting. I mean, we're Godzilla fans, so I guess we're going to be waiting for bated breath. But the average person, again, I've always said that they know that they have our money. Yeah. It doesn't matter. They just need to tell us that on March blah 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 there will be a movie in a theater and Godzilla will be in it and we will be there. You know what I mean? But to the average person, it's like, Okay, whatever. Yeah, there's a Godzilla movie come out. There's also this movie. There's also that movie. There's stuff on Netflix. You know, like they need. So it's almost like, okay, you show them a trailer. You'll see the trailer reactions. You watch ours where I lost my damn mind, and everyone's freaking out. And then Grant's come out, and they also, it's a year away. Okay, then another trailer, like, when's that coming out? I want to see it. Oh, it's 9 months away. Okay, more stuff happens. Another one, oh my God, when's that coming out? Oh, it's like 6 months away. Okay, more stuff happens. So it's almost like I feel sometimes in this day and age, because there's so much stuff. What?
I was gonna say it's like it's edging, you know.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, the studios are essentially like the ultimate edgelords, and they're just riding it. And I'm sorry, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older, but I think, or like a lot of people's hang time ain't what it used to be. I'm just saying, like, you know, back in the day, we could hang.
There's a lot of distractions now.
We can hang, but nowadays, you got the Godzilla movie on the main stage, you know, shaking that ass, working it, but then you got on the side stage, Susie walking out doing her thing, and then you got Stacy over here and I'm just like trying to hold it all back, and before I know, I got ass, and pop
Godzilla's thick thighs.
Yeah, and then pop goes the weasel. But my point is but the point is, there's more stuff that pull people's attention now. So it doesn't necessarily behoove a studio now to dump so much money on marketing, because realistically, the people who are going to go see it. And honestly, it's almost better to kind of capture them in the moment. So you drop a trailer, it's big, it's flashy, it's cool. Oh, wow. Maybe it's about, okay, a third of the way out. Okay, then you have another trailer that's even bigger, even splashier. People get really excited, and then after that, you do some TV spots, but by that point, they don't have too much longer to wait. So they kind of ride that high all the way to the movie theater, whereas if you start too early, it's almost seems like now what's happening is that people are getting excited. There's this ride, and then it starts to getting to this decline, and not to the point where it's complete loss of interest, but by the time the movie actually comes out...
Well, unless it's the Avatar movies.
Yeah, well, that's going to be an interesting experiment. I'm curious to see how that's going to work out, because again...
I'm curious to see them still.
Yeah, but
I know...
But when Avatar came out, there was a very different time in terms of a movie. It was a decade ago.
Over a decade ago.
Yeah, for some people, they might have been like little kids when that came out, and now they're going to be like teenagers. So things have changed. So I'm curious how that's going to play out.
And I think too, like, a lot of studios do the thing now where they do like the teaser for the trailer, which is usually like smoke and like just text and like a logo, and I'm like, all right.
But that costs money.
It does
that costs money. So that adds to the production budget, which means it's that much more than we have to make back.
I always find it funny they did that, though. I'm like, why not just save the money and just make the trailer?
Well, and again, in the past it was more quality or quantity, where now it seems like they're again, the King of the Monsters trailer.
It's like they gotta make a little blip to be like, hey, remember this? All right.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure you didn't forget.
And then what they'll do now, then in between like the last trailer and the release, they'll drop like 1,000 TV spots. That essentially give the whole damn movie away.
Usually it's kind of the same thing with like 1 or 2 added scenes.
Yeah, and it's just like, and it gets to the point where I almost feel like too, like if people just get kind of overloaded on it too. Like, so in addition to that, these licensing expos that they've done, one of the big things that came through is that they talked about working with these different licensees and whatnot, these partnering with these different companies, because they have plans basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically says to see Godzilla and Kong, in addition, go in this movie together for the first time since '62, and then beyond that. Basically saying that they have plans for the MonsterVerse to continue. They don't want to wrap it up after Godzilla vs. Kong. And this kind of more or less explains what Toho had said at San Diego Comic-Con when they had their booth, when I talked about them saying too, like, yeah, they like the legendary Godzilla, they want to get involved, they like licensing him out, and that's something they want to continue to do. But the way they kind of worded it was vague. Do you mean just licensing out Godzilla in general to like other studios in the West? Or do you mean specifically the MonsterVerse? That wasn't very clear. But now, that coupled with what they said the licensing expert, it sounds like, okay, because Toho went to one of them in Europe too, with them. And it says, like, okay, so no, they want to keep the MonsterVerse going. Okay, well, if you're Marvel, and I know Marvel is like the obvious, but it's the best example that you can, even though Marvel, brands their stuff out everywhere too, but they know for better or for worse, they're going to make all the money they need and then some with just ticket sales alone. Yeah. Something like Godzilla, King of the Monsters, or just the Godzilla franchise in general, is a bit more niche, because instead of, beautiful looking people in, Halloween costumes running around screen, that you're asking audiences to relate to giant monsters. And for people like us, we absolutely can. But for the average person, that may be more of a taller order. So right away, these films are probably going to appeal to a smaller demographic, a much more specific demographic. So on the one hand, the good thing about that is you look at King of the Monsters, and it placated very hard to Godzilla fans, which was great. The problem is with big budget films like this is that they need everyone to go see these movies.
Well, again, it's kind of like, I know we've said it a million times, but like Pacific Rim is kind of the same thing.
Yeah. It even though technically First Pacific Rim made more than King of the Monsters. But a movie came out like half a decade ago, and things have changed. I mean, 2019 was like a record year in terms of lows for big budget films.
For all movies.
Yeah, so it wasn't just, Godzilla, King of the Monsters is suffering, no one likes Godzilla. No, I mean, Men in Black didn't do so well, the Shaft movie didn't do well, and there were other big movies that came out in the summer that just didn't do so well. But when Godzilla, King of the Monsters came out on a home release, it was like number one. Number one for Blu-ray sales, DVD, digital download, streaming, all of that was like number one. So it wasn't that people had a lack of interest, but more people are watching stuff at home.
Yeah.
So, and because...
Hey man, shit's expensive.
Yeah, it is expensive, but...
I don't want to put on pants.
I know, right? But it showed, too, that, like I've always said, streaming, I mean, that's kind of where more people... So it wasn't a lack of... Bless you.
Sorry.
How dare you. So there's that. So then what do we do? Well, we need to then shift some of the focus away from ticket sales. Basically meaning like, okay, the film at the very least needs to make its production budget back. We need to do some and a little bit more, fine. But now, okay, if there's studios also now pulling more from home release, which they are now. Now studios are making a lot more money off Blu-ray and stuff because once upon a time the studio made all the money from the movie being in movie theater. That's why movies were in theaters forever. But now, I think it was in the early 2000s or late, something changed where basically like the first week, I think it is, first week or 2 weeks, the studio makes like 90% of the ticket sales. Yeah. And then every week after that, it goes down. So basically after 3 months, usually you see movies get yanked, sometimes not even that long. It's because by that point, they're no longer making money.
Yeah.
They used to be the movie theaters made money off concessions, and that was it. But now it's like the longer the movie's in the theater, that ratio of theater versus studio making money starts to shift. So that's why studios are like, okay, well then, after about 3 months, that's assuming the movie's doing really good.
Yeah.
Yank it and get it on a home release as fast as possible. That's why you see now movies are coming out on digital download and Blu-ray much faster because, again, the studio can now make money off that. Yeah. So they're basically, as soon as they don't make money in the theater, switch gears. So that's a good sign that Godzilla did well on home release because that's now a growing market for studios. But when you hear stuff about like the gambling video game thing and all these other licenses, they're talking with toys and all that. Well, the good thing about that is that, if you look at Star Wars, as popular as those movies were and are, what really made George Lucas a billionaire wasn't really just the movies. It wasn't just ticket sales. It was the toys, the video games, the clothes, the Pez dispensers, the beach towels.
It's kind of funny because again, like they don't really do they do some toy merchandising, but like
King of the Monsters actually had a decent one.
But I'm more or less just thinking
in general.
Yeah, like overall compared to what it used to be. Because kids don't play with toys anymore.
Well, that's my point.
And they stopped trying to do the movie spin-off games, thankfully.
Yeah. Well, growing up, they made toys for everything. Yeah. They made toys for movies that kids weren't allowed to see. Like my introduction to Aliens was the toys. I saw the toys at like my local Target, and I was like, "Whoa, what are these?" And it was a toy line for kids from an R-rated movie where monsters were ripping out of people's sternums. Movies that I could not go into, but I could play with the toys. Yeah. I first saw what the Predator looked like on the cover of the old Super Nintendo game. I'd always heard about the Predator because my dad would talk about it, and then I saw this game where he was like pushing a xenomorph's face, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he goes, oh, that's the Predator. I was like, that's the Predator. It was a video game meant for kids that I saw that. So back in the day, that was the kind of thing. And studios made a lot of money because they basically said, okay, the movies for the grown-ups, but we can get the kids on the games and the toys. And so, okay, kids don't really play with toys now. Well, chain smoking grannies go to Vegas. So now that chain smoking granny is normally by the slot machine and she's playing some weird gambling game or it's something on your phone or whatever it's going to be, someone who doesn't really maybe even have any interest in Godzilla, but it's just a weird thing. Well, that money is going to now filter all the way back up to the studio and hopefully result in us sitting in a movie theater watching a Rodan movie or a Mothra movie. And at that point, we don't really care where the money came from. We just know that the studio is getting enough somewhere to keep making these movies. And that way, even though it's mostly just Godzilla fans turning out to the movie theater for it, we're getting the movie we want, and because of that, because the studio isn't relying on just putting asses in seats, the flip side to that is that they can kind of tailor make these movies to more what the fans want. Because again, I like Marvel movies. I mean, again, we didn't really grow up reading the comics, but the movies are fun, but I know enough about the comics from friends of mine who read them. Basically says, yeah, the Marvel kind of tone is very much kind of a one-note tone. And it's a tone you do see in the comics, but it's one of many tones you see in the comics. You're not going to see... You don't see the gritty, hard R Punisher movie like you saw on Netflix where he's like taking a guy's face and just raking it down, broken glass. You're not going to see that kind of, Marvel movie. Again, we just watched Spider-Man Far From Home. Fun movie. It was a good movie. I'd rather watch a movie like Blade, where he's dropping F-bombs and cutting vampires' head and saying shit like some motherfuckers are always trying to skate uphill. You know what I mean? Like, I want that movie. I don't think Marvel's going to give us that movie, which is why I'm very curious to see what their Blade movie is going to look like. But my point is, it's like, but that format appeals to a much broader audience. So if you're looking for a grittier, darker Marvel movie, you're probably not going to get that because they have to play.
I think they need to do something again, kind of take a page out of Deadpool's book, and again, like Disney used to have Touchstone and then Disney, whatever, their main animated stuff. But again, Touchstone was kind of their more like, I don't want to say adult. They weren't all adult, but they weren't like,
Disney proper.
Kids.
Yeah. But the thing is now that everything is under that banner, like how it, again, who knows? But as it stands right now, those movies can appeal to the fans, but it can appeal to mom, dad, the kids, grandma, grandpa, whereas...
It's gotta be family friendly, essentially.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, oh my god...
Which isn't bad, but...
And I'm not saying every Godzilla movie needs to be Shin, where it's gritty and political and very... I mean, I like those movies too, but... You can have a better chance of getting a movie like that in the Monsterverse, as well as something maybe even a bit lighter, if they're not so dependent on the money coming from one source. They know that, okay, we can make this movie and it's going to appeal to this percentage of the population. We'll make about 380, maybe 400 at the box office, but we're going to be pulling in money from this merchandise brand, from this licensor over here. We're going to make a bunch of money off home release. So they're getting the money every which way. And the great thing about money is that money is money. It doesn't matter where I get it. As long as the studio is getting it because of this brand, because if the Monsterverse brand is pulling in money one way or the other, it doesn't really matter. Would they love to make $1 billion in the box office? Of course they would. But it sounds like they want to keep this going. And I've always said too that Hollywood is not the kind of we always get annoyed because you see Hollywood's always rebooting something, starting something back up, it's not working. It's like, why don't you just let it go? Well, because that's Hollywood. When Hollywood gets something, it doesn't want to let it go.
They want to suck it dry.
Exactly.
Until it's dead.
So people are saying, like, that's it, the Monsterverse is done. And I'm like, the only way that they're going to just give up on it is if Toho yanks the license for Godzilla. That's the only way, because it's Hollywood, it's a big studio. They're like, we got the rights to Godzilla. We have the rights to one of the greatest monsters, in my opinion, the greatest monster of all time. But if nothing else, definitely one of the most iconic ones. Yeah. Household name monster. There's got to be a way we can all line our pockets with this. I guarantee they're all sitting around the room, they're refusing to believe that, I guess Godzilla's not profitable. No, that's not how Hollywood works. If the one thing's not worth, they're going to say, okay, we know we can make money to this point in theater, but how do we make money elsewhere? How can we keep this going? How can we pull? And that's what these licensing kind of conferences and conventions are basically for. They're there to basically get a bunch of rich CEOs in a room together and say, okay, how do we all make money off this? And go. And if it's one thing they're good at, is figuring out how to get rich off something. So normally that's kind of the big greedy corporate Hollywood machine that we all kind of roll our eyes at. But in this case, that's our greatest ally, because they are trying their hardest to keep this train going. They don't want it to stop. They may not want it to stop for different reasons than us, because for us it's like the Godzilla, we're the fans, and to them it's more or less like the business side, or they want to make money. But regardless, we're meeting in the middle here, because we both want to see this franchise, the Monsterverse, continue. And it sounds like Toho is on board, and now they're going to be co-producing these films with them in the future, so they're going to have a much more active role. So there's a lot of big kind of corporate heavyweights behind the scenes trying to grease these wheels and trying to get this going. You can always trust, again, in the greed of the studio system to kind of, and I'm not
better for worse.
Yeah, and I know it sounds like I'm speaking ill of that, and I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek here, but at the same time, like, show business, we get so caught up in the show.
It's still a business.
It's still a business, and they have to make money. So, and that's the thing. If you want this stuff to continue, it's got to make money. So, yes, you'd always make the argument that the money side of it is the necessary evil. And yes, they want to make money because, hey, money's great. They want to be profitable, but at the same time, they could also just dump it and try to make money off something else. They don't need, to do that. I mean, I know Warner Brothers was kind of spearheading a lot of the licensing conventions, and Warner Brothers, has the DCU, which is actually starting to pick up speed. I mean, Aquaman made like $1 billion. Shazam did extremely well. The new Wonder Woman's coming out, and that's getting really hyped up. That's probably going to make a lot of money too. So you could argue that they don't need the Monsterverse. They could just say, okay, you know what, we're going to just deal with Warner Brothers or the DC stuff because they own that. Whereas the Godzilla stuff, they have to license that out. So that's not even just theirs 100% to do it as they please. So the fact that they still are trying to make this work is a good sign. So, I would love to see Mothra. Everyone says, we're going to see Mothra come back next Godzilla movie. She's going to be in Godzilla vs. Kong. I want to see just a Mothra movie. If the Monsterverse is to continue, I kind of want to see these monsters.
Page from Rebirth of Mothra.
Yeah, well, even like that's how when Toho started doing all these kaiju films. Before they all just started putting them just in Godzilla movies, when Godzilla was very clearly the breadwinner of the franchise. They were giving them their own introductions. Mothra had her own movie. Rodan had her own movie. Varan had his own movie. Remember him, guys? No, the guy Ralph was very much influenced by the last Rampage movie. Or the Rampage movie. There's been a million of them. Hopefully we'll get a second. But that's how they would do it, and then they would start kind of cropping up into their own in Godzilla's franchise, and Godzilla's franchise kind of became like the Avengers, where it was everyone in it. I would love to see a standalone Mothra movie with this new Mothra. I want to see Rodan have his own movie and fight like a new. They just revealed that new Titan. I forget his name. But he's like a big bat. I would love to see like a classic flying kaiju.
It's like Camazotz or something.
Yeah, but I'd love to see you have the classic one versus a new one.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to do things like that and then have them pop up in each other's movies like the Marvel movie. That's what I want. But for these movies, to get that, these franchises as a whole need to make money. Mm-hmm. So yes, we want a trailer, and I think we're kind of now we really need to get a trailer, sure. But by holding off the marketing a little bit longer, that's going to shrink that budget. So let's say Godzilla vs. Kong makes the exact same amount as King of the Monsters did at the box office. Technically, now the studio would have actually made more money because their production budget is smaller, or promotional budget is smaller, which means they don't have to make as much to cover that. So and we're living in a day and age where you don't need to promote a movie a year out. I mean, you can tell people it's coming out, but in terms of dropping the trailer,
people know. I mean, they follow the, what do they call it? Articles,
social
online.
Media, like
like TMZ, all that stuff.
I don't even think people watch that anymore. But again,
the point is, there's leaked footage, leaked screenshots.
Yeah, all stuff gets leaked, and I'm like, really, is it leaked? But it's also, too, now, it's like, people are on Twitter all the time. They're on Instagram, Facebook. So, if you're on Twitter and you constantly see, like, an ad for the movie, you're on Instagram, you see ads for... more people are going to see stuff from it that way.
And I also think, because of social media in general, just people tweeting and, blogging about it in general, it's free publicity.
Reposting everything.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
So... they don't... Basically, the fans kind of make up for the studios. They don't have to do so much.
Yeah, it's kind of free publicity.
Yeah.
So, again...
To an extent.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't mind. I mean, I want to see stuff from it, yes, because I want to see stuff from it, but I also don't mind them that they don't start as soon, because I know that means that it's less money they have to make than after the fact, which means then they don't have to worry about making as much.
You know it's coming eventually. So
yeah, and again,
it's just...
and this way too, again, they drop a big slick trailer and everyone starts freaking out over it. And then they see like, oh, that's not too far away, and they because I think
see, is that so much better though to have that than to get like again like the teaser for the trailer? I'd rather just wait
or get that incredible like that first trailer we got at San Diego Comic-Con in 2018. And it was one of the greatest trailers I've ever seen of all time for King of the Monsters, that first one.
Oh yeah. And
then to know that I have to basically wait a year, like I mean, but it's so I think by that way too, because again, people don't want to get too excited because they know it's way off. But if they see that it's not, because a lot of times when I watch trailer reactions, I'll see them and people are like, oh, it's not that far. And you see that they're like, okay, yeah let's... And the trailer reactions can tend to be a little bit longer because then they kind of want to get into it more because they know it's around the corner. Whereas when you see the movies way off, I notice that they're like, oh, that's really cool. What? I gotta wait how long?
And again, it's, I mean, to step into my area a little bit, it's kind of like the Last of Us 2 trailer dropped like a month ago or something, and that's coming out in February, which it's like, hey, that's not even, that's like 6 months. It's that.
Yeah, I mean, and they've experimented with movies, where they, trying to just drop trailers for like movies. I mean, these weren't big movies, but, when they end up doing pretty well, they just kind of started promoting them closer, and people got excited, it looks good, and a few months went by, and then the movie's out, and they kind of rode that wave of excitement. It didn't filter out at all, because again, you're not just waiting 9 months for a movie. In the meantime, you're watching, the new season of Stranger Things, season 2 of Insatiable just came out. The Dark Crystal series just came out, hey, this new game, you're the video game person, I'm sure a game of some sort came out, let's play that, like there's all this stuff going on to keep people's attention. They're not just fixated on that. So it's almost like... and
also the fact that studios are putting out multiple movies. So
yeah, that too. So you kind of, it's almost like better to kind of just shorten the wait.
Yeah.
And then in that shorter time, fill it with more quality in terms of promotion and get people really excited. And then before that excitement starts to kind of taper off, the movie comes out and they just go in the theater. They just go. And
and again, the fact that home release comes out so much quicker now, so it's kind of the same thing even after the movie's out, because, I don't have to wait that long before I can own it and watch it 10 times a day.
Yeah. And people get excited about that too. And that's, so that's the great thing. So... I think it's smart that studios are kind of reallocating kind of how their business model. They're basically kind of saying, okay, instead of funneling all our basically revenue in from kind of this one source, and everything else is just kind of whatever, we'll make a buck or two here or there. They're saying, okay, the primary is still ticket sales. We still want people to go to the movie to see it. But in addition to that, we plan on then making up this part of the cost from this licensor, from home release, from this
irons in the fire.
Exactly, and as long as all that equals to that stack of money, it doesn't matter if that stack got to be as big as it is because it just came from just the movie theater or this or that. What matters is they needed the stack to be this high, and it's this high now. Who cares how it got there? It's there, and now you get your Rodan movie. Now you get your Mothra movie. Now you get another Solo Kong movie.
You get a movie.
You get a movie. Everybody gets a movie. But of course more Godzilla movies, which hopefully we don't have to wait 5 years, for more after that. But that's the point. Is like now they have the revenue and they can justify it because they know in one way or another they're going to make the money they need. And personally, I really don't care if they're start making Godzilla Pez dispensers or, pajamas or coasters. Who cares? It all funnels back into, the central hub, which is producing the movies, which is what we care about, is the movies first and foremost. As long as we're getting more Godzilla movies, and we love the MonsterVerse thus far, so I would love to see more of that continue, as well as Godzilla and other iterations of Toho, sees fit. Great. I just want more. So however they have to do that, however they have to sell themselves to do so, do it. I don't care. So just kind of wanted to talk about that because I know a lot of people are frustrated by not seeing a trailer yet. Again, I think by now we should see a trailer. I'm on board with that now. But I don't mind that they waited longer this time because, again, shortens that promotional budget, which, again, we want to see the footage, but in terms of marketing these movies, you don't need to start that soon. You don't need to.
Yeah.
And, you know, in terms of all this other weird stuff we keep hearing, like, what are they doing here? Why is that? Why are they making a deal there? Well, that's why. Because they're finding different ways to pull money in from different places. Exactly. Yeah, they're getting creative. And it's all just so we can get more of these movies. So as long as the studios are getting paid, then they'll keep cranking it out. That's all that matters. That's what it all boils down to. So don't freak out and take it as a good sign, because it is a good sign, because it shows that these big, you know, all the CEOs, the producers, executive producers, everyone involved, they care and they want this to
They're trying to make it work.
They're trying to make it work. I mean, there's no guarantee. At some point, if it really is just costing the money, yeah, it'll stop. But they're not going to go down without a fight. They will try. And right now, it seems like they have the blessing of Toho and the support of them, too, on this endeavor. Like, Toho is going with them to these things. Like, they are all in to keep the MonsterVerse going and making Godzilla kind of a global mainstream brand. So, you know, all the big players are behind us. They want this to succeed. So let's just let them do what they got to do and support it. And, you know, buy the Godzilla coasters, you know, buy the pajamas, whatever they put out, buy it, because that all, again, it all comes back to the central hub, which is the movies. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully we get a trailer soon, you know, again, because I'm at the point now where, okay, it's been long enough.
It's time.
It's time. Now we can start promoting the movie a little bit more, which it's got to be around the corner. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace!